Hey everyone, it's Jen with ChappyPlans. Thanks for hanging out with me for this Memory Planning Monday video. This will be week 45 in my Project Life album, so stick around. Hey friends, it's week 45 in my Project Life, which is crazy. And I was looking at my social media planner and I was like, ooh, at the end of the year, I'll be filming number 48, week 48. So I might do the last few weeks of the year all in one, or just like film them, not film them, just create off camera and then come back and share the whole project. I'm not really sure. But right now I am using the new Yes No Story kit from Ali Edwards to document this week, and it was a very busy week. I'm talking about how I was saying yes to a sub job for Monday, even though my in-laws were coming in for the week that evening, and saying yes to teaching pre-K for the first time, and saying yes for Nora to stay up late because they came in later than she, typically goes to bed. And then the middle card is from the November Stories by the Month kit, and it says Gather, Love Coming Together, and it's going to be my journaling for the photos to the right of it about how PTA has been going and how there was an annual officers and administrators banquet dinner that my friend and Vice President Carrie and I went to that Monday evening. So it was a really busy Monday. I worked all day, then I came home, worked out, took a shower, got ready, got Nora off to dance. We had dinner, and then I went to the banquet. And when I got home, my in-laws arrived about 20 minutes after I walked in the door. Not even, maybe like 15 minutes. So I'm just journaling about that. And I've selected, so all the cards are all from Ali Edwards. There is a patterned paper. I'm not sure which kit though that it came with that I use. So I'm going to use it for my title card on the right side of the spread, and as extra like bonus cards for flip ups. And then that's what I'm journaling about there. I wanted to use these yes no cards like as spots for journaling on photos, but they were just so big. I didn't feel like, I felt like they took away from the photos. So I end up like way later on using a circle punch to just punch out the yes and no and writing on the white part, which worked a lot better, and I wish I had thought of earlier, but I didn't. And then I'm using this chipboard that says really happy I said yes to this. And the strips from the leftover scraps of cutting down the yes no card, I was like, let me use that in lieu of washi, which I really like. And I actually got that idea from Sabrina, Mrs. Scraps and Plans. She's amazing, and I absolutely love watching everything she creates. So definitely give her a follow on Instagram and YouTube. She has so much scrapbook content and scrapbook project content out there. So I'm just going to use this red and white baker's twine to adhere to the tags for a little bit of texture, nothing crazy. And I use my glossy accents to keep the yarn down. And in the middle, it's not now, but later on when I go to use it, I squeeze the bottle and the little tip went flying off and the glue went everywhere. Like it was all over my face, all over my chin, my neck. It was in my hair. It was all over the page protectors. Thank God most of this stuff was on the page protectors, because I end up, you'll see me like later in the video after it happens, wiping down the page protectors. It went on the floor. I had to like stop the video and call my husband in to help me clean up because it was crazy. But so that was kind of a disaster. Anyhow, there's that pattern paper I talked about trimming down. This was my tag from the banquet. You gotta wear your little name badge so people know who you are and what table you're sitting at. It was kind of fancy. It was fun. And that's a picture I took at circle time when I was teaching pre-K. So I'm sitting there. I took it from like right under my chin, and I've got two kids right on me, and I just love that. I love that they, it took them all but like 15 minutes to warm up to me and come and just be able to be loved on, which is like the best part of my job for sure. So I'm using this currently stamp set that I totally forgot I had from Studio Calico, just to stamp some simple things. Like I used it up on the gather card. It says, here's the thing. And then this one says at the moment. And I'm just using these word phrase stickers from the October Stories by the Month kit. These little like puffy stickers are from, like the little animals are from American Greetings, the card section at Target. And then the red, different shades of red and green puffy hearts are from Allie Edwards. So, and then the Baker's twine, I think is just from like Michael's or Joanne or something like that. But now I'm trimming down the card that I'm not going to use so I can use just the patterned part of it to separate these photos that I had sectioned off in my Diptyque app. So after my in-laws got here, Nora had plenty of time to play with their new puppy who came with them. He's 13 weeks old and super cute. His name is Hoover. And then Nora and Grandma were able to do a puzzle. I did some of it too. And they had a lot of time together, which was lovely. Nora ended up having 2 days off this past week, or the week that this is being documented, and that's why they chose to come earlier in the month. They usually come later, like closer to her actual birthday, which is the 20th, but because she had Election Day and Veterans Day in the same week, they decided to come earlier, and it worked out really well, so they got to spend a lot of quality time together, which I think is Nora's primary love language, so that worked out awesome. Also, sorry about the top of my head in the camera. I have a new filming setup, which I super love, and sometimes that means my head gets in the way. I loved using this little like dash technique. I've used it over the last couple weeks in Project Life, and I think it looks really cute. So I wanted to continue it. So those were my yes stories on the top, and now my no stories are saying no to things that are like serving me well. So not no in like a bad way, but in a good way, if that makes sense. Like saying no to going to the New York State Museum with my husband and his parents when they had the day off. I wanted to stay home and work on December daily stuff, and it was healthy for me to say that and to allow them to have some time together. And so that was something I journaled about, saying no to putting myself last and saying no to skipping my exercise while they were here because, I can be very self-conscious and nobody really wants to work out in front of their father-in-law, let's be honest. But I did it. So I'm very proud of myself. And then this picture here, which I'm going to separate with some of that extra pattern paper, is just a close-up of Hoover chilling on the couch, and then my cats like up in their cat tower, very unhappy with his presence. But Jeeves, he only came up, that might have been the only time he came up the whole trip. Like he came up maybe a couple other times, but not when Hoover was out. And so I happened to snap that picture at just the right time. But Smokey is much more social, brave, and like, dare I say, ballsy, for lack of a better term. Like he got in his face and kept batting at him. Now here's the glue explosion. Ready? So, oh, let me just add a little, nope, there it goes. It's all over everything. So I'm gonna stop filming, try to clean up, and come back. It was a huge disaster. But I did my best to clean it up, so it says no way because I just think that's so funny. Like the cats are like, no way. We don't want to play with you, sir. We don't want you in our space. No, thank you. So there now I'm learned my lesson. Carefully make sure the hole is open before you press on the bottle and squeeze. I don't really know how else to keep my glossy accents clean. Like, I don't know if you guys have any tips, but it's an ongoing issue. I've never had it explode like that though. That was the first, and it was really bad. And my face started to like harden because I couldn't get all the glue off. It was a whole thing. So back to my currently stamped set. I am going to stamp at the moment and use the arrow again and then embellish it. Oh, so some of the little embellishments that I'm using are these die cut bursts. They came from the work story kit, but the colors are perfect and they make sense. Like the sentiments on them make sense. So I use those periodically throughout the spread as well. It's just a little tiny cluster to like make a little cluster on the card. So I put that red and white striped one, and then I'm going to take a word phrase and then put a little like puffy sticker and journal about how I love that Nora also got to learn how to knit slash sew with Grandma when she was here, because Grandma's an amazing talented crafter herself, but very different from, you know, scrapbooking. She's can crochet and knit and sew, and just she's so talented. So she taught Nora how to create this little like she got her like a little first time sewing kit of some sort, and so there's a picture of Nora holding her creation very proudly. She made this mercat, which is so cute, and then the next day or the day after, I can't remember, she ended up making a narwhal unicorn like thing by herself. It's just adorable, and I love that she loved doing it and that it was something special she got to do with Grandma, and who she actually calls Gam Gam. Just such a special story. So I just journaled on that. These labels, by the way, are from Studio Calico. So proud of Nora for sewing this mercat and stamp the date and the currently word phrase from the Studio Calico stamp set. And then this last photo on the left side of the page is of my husband, his dad, and Nora on the carousel at the New York State Museum, which is part of that no story, right? Like me saying, no, I'm not going to go, because I didn't really want to go. I've honestly been there a million times. My dad, God rest his soul, used to take me all the time when I was a kid, and I just was really like, I don't need to go. And also, I would much rather be home playing with my December daily goodies, and that's what I did. So you see, that's where I decide, oh, I can punch these with a circle punch and make them be much more size appropriate in proportion to the photos. So I'm journaling, yes, riding the carousel at the New York State Museum, and I added the dash marks to that label as well, to make it look like it was kind of a little bit more cohesive with the rest of the spread. And I'm just going to add a couple of little stickers and call that card good. And then I'm going to use the other no piece, punch that out, and put that on the picture of Nora playing tug of war with Hoover, and just writing no like as a word, something like no is a word we said a lot when we were playing with Hoover, because we just didn't want him to bite us or jump, which he was doing both, as puppies do. And then I'm going to show you the close-ups. Here we go. Ta-da! Okay, now moving on to the title card. There's that pattern paper I trimmed down from Allie Edwards. And I'm going to use her Alphas Are Awesome stamps. I don't know which number this is, like 2 or 3 maybe. They're kind of a distressed alpha, and I really love them. I've used them a ton to spell out week. And then I'm going to use some outline alphas from Heidi Swap to put the number 45 in there, because I want to be able to bring in some of that corally red orange shade. And so I can use my Zig Clean Color Dot marker to color in the 45 so that it matches the rest of the spread. So I decide I'm going to put yay or nay. This is an acetate phrase that came with the Yes No kit. I really am using it because that's the theme for the whole week, like yes or no, obviously. And I really love the colors on this, so I'm just going to use my tiny attacher to staple it to the front of the card. And then it does fall a little bit on the outside, like the clear part, but I just trimmed it off, no problem, and use a heart sticker, put it in the middle, and then color in the 45. Oh, and I also am going to bring in one of those little burst die cuts from the work kit. The yelling you hear in the background is my child playing a game with my husband, so no worries, everything's cool here at the Chapman house. It's very close to bedtime, so she's also tired, but they're playing a heated game right now at the moment of I Found It, but the card game version. Okay. Anyway, the next picture and story is obviously my husband, his mom, and his dad, and Nora outside of the science museum we went to. And this is what she chose to do. So I'm going to journal about that on this Moments to Remember, Just So Thankful card, because yeah, it was awesome. Like, we had obviously Veterans Day off, and so Nora, instead of going to what she originally wanted to do was go to Dave and Buster's and like go shopping and that kind of stuff, but instead she decided she'd rather go to a science museum. So we ended up buying a family membership to this local science museum, and it's very small but very cute, and it was just the perfect little outing. An amount of time to leave Hoover by himself in his little crate. So I'm just journaling about that. And I split up this photo that's underneath into 3 sections so that, you know, I could get like all the different things that happened without taking up too much space. And I know what's happening in the pictures, and Nora probably will remember. So that's all that really matters. But it was kind of dark, so I didn't want to feature it as a main photo. And then I'm using this chipboard piece from the October stories by the month. No, November rather. It says "This season has my heart," because in the background, we went out on the patio to take this picture. In the background is downtown Schenectady, where my husband's job is, and it's literally, his job is across the street from this museum. So in the background, close up, you can't see right now, but is the foliage and just this really pretty view of the city. So I used the word phrase "finding beauty in today." And then I just added the little puffy sticker, and that's it. And then Saturday night, Nora had her cheer banquet to end the season for real, for real. And so that was a lot of fun for her. Once the awards were all handed out, they had a DJ. It was like a banquet, a dinner, and they got to dance. So it was like basically like kids being at the club, which, you know, if you follow me on Instagram, I shared some clips from that night in my stories. So if you're not following me over there, you should, because sometimes I share things there that I don't share here. So I'm going to embellish this one with the yep and first trophy, and then the big wholehearted yes to this card. All I do is add a few stickers to it, and I think I end up adding hatch marks at the end, not now. And the photo on the right is one of her coaches. Unfortunately, her other coach couldn't be there. She was out of town. And one of her friends. And that was taken at the very end of the night. It was pretty late by the time we left. Definitely past her bedtime. So, and the flip up underneath is Nora, her classmate and cheer friend, Tessa, and Etta. That's another picture of Etta. She's the sweetest. So I ended up using the yes, no card as like a 3x4 card. I trimmed it down, and I wrote a little bit about that night. And earlier that day, we had a little incident where while Grandma was out, I was cleaning the house and I vacuumed, and I scared poor little Hoover, and he peed on our couch, which I wasn't even upset about. I just was like, oh, that's unfortunate. And it was like, ended up being a whole thing, and you know, problem solved, water under the bridge, but it was definitely a no story for me. So I did journal about that a little bit on the back of that card. But they ended up coming to the banquet, which was really nice for them to be able to just see Nora and see her team, and see her get her trophy, which she's so proud of. It has her name on it and everything. And her team did place first this year, so that's exciting. This picture of the red flags is just a screenshot from the interwebs, and we played that, I think, the night before. So not Nora, okay, don't judge me. It's definitely an adult game, but my in-laws and my husband and I just am journaling about how we laughed so hard we almost peed our pants. If you don't know what it is, Google it, because it's amazing. And then the last card that I'm not going to film myself journaling about is just me summing up some important November stories. So here are the close-ups of the right side of the page. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and it gave you some inspiration and just some insight into our week 45. Let me know if you've got any questions about anything that I shared. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. If you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the bell, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care, friends, and remember that you are enough. Bye.